The old pier on Clare Island was constructed of stonework, and you know, it's just the masonry of, in those days the old builders, stone builders were extraordinary characters, extraordinary men. What they did, the old pier was a wooden, was a stone structure, and it was like all the piers that were built pre-famine in those times. They were all built on, and even after the famine, they were built on more or less on dry land. They were built down to low water. And there was a point then at which the tides were, the neap tides, or the spring tides, there was no, the water would go away from the end of the pier altogether. So I remember making going up to the meeting. Enda Kenny's dad, actually, Henry, came in here a couple of times, and I was talking to him and I was asking him, I said, Henry, I said, is there any hope at all that we might get some extension or a bit of work on done on the pier that it gives flotation at low water? And he said, look, leave that with me, he says. Anyway, he went off anyway and he got in touch with me sometime later. And he said, I have a meeting arranged for you, say, with Joe Brennan. Joe Brennan now was a lovely old man. He was in the Fianna Fáil government at the time, and he's from Donegal. And he said, I have a meeting set up with for you with Joe Brennan. And he said, you come up, he said, I'll bring somebody with you. And he says, we'll have a general talk, and I'll be with you there. He said, we'll have a talk with them about whatever the possibilities of getting a grant might be. So off I went, and I had Father Gleeson, Martin Gleeson was here, a lovely man, a priest, young priest at the time, and I wrote himself in, a fellow by the name of Dick Hayes, who was a lightkeeper married on the island at the time. Married to the ex-school teacher, the school teacher that I mentioned earlier on, Sal, and she was O'Malley. But we went off and we talked to famous Joe, and we got subsequently, he put a grant together to give us an extension. Now, it gave us about 50 feet of an extension, which is still there on the old pier, at the end of the old pier. But it gave us great shelter for the boats, all right. But in low tides, it was always, there was a difficulty at low tide, and a difficulty in swell. However, a long period then passed since then, up until 5 years ago, or 6 years ago, when the ERDF funding came on stream, the European Regional Development funding came on stream, and Eamon O'Keefe, as Minister, took over as Minister for the Islands, with responsibility for the islands. And we were on his door most of the time as well, trying to get funding, and he got substantial funding for a lot of the islands. So we got a fund of 10 million actually to improve the harbour, and that did substantial work. That has changed the whole, all the services to the island since that came in, because it has enabled us to get bigger boats, boats that can make contact with, come and go over to the mainland in extraordinary bad weather and that has made the island what it is today from a tourist point of view, and from as far as access generally to the mainland is concerned. They did a great job on it. They gave us 300 feet of a concrete structure there now, which we could bring a ship alongside at low water, and we can keep our boats tied alongside it in bad weather. There are extremes in weather, all right, when we have to leave and go to Achill for shelter, and that's when we have a large Atlantic swells running. But it's not, we didn't have to do it very much in the past winter, but there are times when we have to go. But that facility now has been the turning point as far as the island is concerned, as far as security.